Ooh. Welcome back to another Women's Disability Show. I'm your host for the day, Brianna Wheeler. I said this a little backwards, and I feel like I totally messed up my intro today. I'm sorry, you guys. Today is not the best day for me, but I'm here. I'm still on, and I still got ready, even though it was in less than 10 minutes. So forgive my look. I usually like to do like some color or something, so I feel really out of place, but it's okay. We're just going to work with it today. We're going to start with introductions. My name is Brianna Wheeler. I was injured 7 years ago from gun violence, and I am a paraplegic. Let's go to Ashley.
Hi everyone, I'm Ashley. This is Nikki. Um, I'm I'm a C4 quadriplegic. She's a T6. We got injured together. She lost a little bit of weight today. And yeah, we're from Chicago and we got injured in a car accident in March of 2019.
That was perfect. I wish we would have drawn on a little stick figure or something beforehand. That would have been
I
great.
should have pulled up a phone picture.
Okay, let's go to Jessica.
She'll appear later.
Hi, my name's Jessica Brito. I am a C7 incomplete and I was injured in a car accident. And I'm in Orange County.
Thank you. And let's go to Maya.
Hey y'all, it's Maya. I am a C5, C6 quadriplegic, and I've been injured for 5 years due to gun violence. And I live in Los Angeles.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so today we are going to talk about grief after your injury and just kind of navigating through the holidays. You know, Thanksgiving's next week, and then we have Christmas, and then we have New Year. So it can kind of be overwhelming, probably more so after right after you're injured. But I think even down the line, always having family for me, I guess I would say not everybody's family is as chaotic as mine, I'm learning. So I would say for me, it is a little stressful to have it back to back. So I'll share my experiences with that, and then we'll get some of the other girls' experiences with how they navigate through the holidays. Our first question is, how long into your injury did you realize that you even had to go through the grieving process, and kind of what triggered this and how did it make you feel? So let's start with Jessica. So how long were you injured for before you realized that?
I think, well, I think my whole first year was a lot of grief and loss, but I think I didn't realize that I would have to get to a point of acceptance until after year one. I think at year one, I started realizing like this whole pursuit of walking is probably not gonna happen. The first year, I was very set on walking again. I did like every workout facility you could think of, 5, 6 days a week. And since I am an incomplete injury, it was very much the first year was denial just because I can move my legs and I, was making so much progress that it just seemed like naturally I would end up walking.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first year was a lot of denial. It wasn't until after the first year where I was like, okay, maybe working out is going to be part of me getting stronger and closer to independence, as opposed to the mission only being to walk again. So I think year two was all grief. So year one was denial. And then after
Mm-hmm.
that, the process started. And by year two, 2.5, I will say I was in acceptance. But I also can't say, I think acceptance doesn't mean like I'm excited to be in a chair. It
Mm-hmm.
was just more of I accept that this is where I am right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you, when you were going through the grieving process, did you understand like already at that point that you needed to grieve, like that there was something to grieve?
Um, you know what it is? My biggest grief was my hands. Being
Uh-huh.
a quad. I didn't really understand what it meant to be a quad. That I understood the paralysis from the waist down. I didn't understand my hands. So I think I grieved my hands more than the walking. And
Mhm.
that I did understand. When I understood that part, that was probably like 3 months, 4 months into my injury.
Okay. Okay. Let's go to Ashley. So, Ashley, how was that journey for you?
Mm, this thing, I feel like it hit pretty quickly, but then it was also kind of weird. Oh no, am I still on?
Yes.
Yeah.
What happened on
Okay,
your
on my
side?
You can't
side,
see
I
it?
don't see anything. Okay, oh
Oh
my gosh,
no.
what am I doing? This is why I need Nikki, okay?
You got this,
What
girl.
are you
We're rooting for
doing?
you.
Well, anyway, if you guys could see me, it's okay. I'll figure it out once I'm done.
Oh,
But,
okay.
but I like literally don't see anything. But for me, I felt like it hit pretty early. But then it was also weird because COVID was like within my first year of getting injured, or right after the first year. So it was like weird because the holidays were already different, but then they were even more different because no one wanted to be with each other. So I don't know. I feel like it was like a blessing and a curse because it was like I was going through it, but then the whole world was going through it too.
Hmm, hmm.
So I don't know. So I feel like that helped in a way to like accept it a little easier because like everybody wasn't celebrating the holidays together. It wasn't just me,
Hmm.
you know.
Did you feel like just in general, like with your injury, like did you understand that you had to grieve your life before, or like did you realize that there was something to grieve? Because some people don't realize like what a huge loss it is. They usually like identify grieving with losing someone.
Yeah, I feel like kind of with like what Jessica was saying. It was more with my hands that took a little bit longer to be like, oh yeah, they're not gonna get better. Like this is what this is. Whatever is what it is. Um, and then I think like the accessibility in terms of like, oh, if I want to go to this family member's house, I now have to get carried in.
Hmm.
That's a little humanizing. I don't really want to do that for the holidays. When I'm wearing my cute outfit, you know. So it was
Yeah.
like things like that that are like, oh, I want to either have to get used to this or accept that like my holidays are gonna look a little different if I like
Mhm.
choose to not. Guys, she's floating in. Nikki, I don't know what I did.
Hello, welcome, Nikki. Ashley needs some help, girl. So you came in at the right moment.
Dude, I don't
Hey,
know.
fam.
We can
Hello.
completely see you guys. I guess you guys
Mhm.
just can't see
Can't
us.
see them.
Yes.
What did I do?
So
Girl,
if you
you.
guys need to exit and come back out, that's totally fine. I'll just move on for this moment. Um, okay.
Oh,
How about you, Maya? How many years was it until you realized, like, oh wait, maybe I do need to go through even a grieving process?
Yeah, for me, it was 2 whole years into my injury, y'all. I I feel like I accepted things right away, but I didn't do the grieving part. So I'm like, okay, I'm paralyzed now. It's time to go to college. It's time to, like get my degree. I was on drugs before this, so now my life is really starting, and I just kind of like hit the ground rolling. And then 2 years into my injury, I was like, dang, I feel like kind of empty right now. Like things are kind of weird, and it just caught up to me that like I needed to take a second and actually think about my life before and mourn that, and similar to Jessica, like a big thing for me was my hands, like really realizing that I have to go about life completely different because of my hands. And I had always like hoped to get finger function back. And, like 5 years later, I still haven't gotten that. So that was one thing that I had to like really grieve at that time. Oh, hi, baby.
He's joining in. It's okay. It doesn't even bother us. We love it. Music to my ears.
But yeah, so for me, it was 2 years into my injury, and then I actually had to like pause from school, take it some time, and like really think about my injury and focus on church and focus on finding Jesus. Like that was a really important thing for me in the beginning of my injury, especially because like I already felt the acceptance right away. I felt like God had saved my life and was doing something incredible with my life, but I didn't take the time to really acknowledge all of the changes. And I wish I would have like had that advice really early on into my injury, so I didn't have to like just hit the ground rolling and then unlearn some toxic like things that I was applying into my life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes tons of sense. I relate in a lot of different ways too. I feel like I went through a lot of anger in the beginning. And I didn't really understand it. There was a lot of like mental turmoil that was going on, and I would just fantasize about my past life. And it didn't really hit me until like year two, honestly, that something had to change. And it was mainly on my mental side. Like I realized, like I felt like I was losing my mind, honestly, and I was so depressed and I was so sad. And it's like when I started researching more on like wheelchair groups and stuff like that, and I found the push girls, and it kind of gave me like a little bit more hope of like, oh, maybe I could do this. So that's what kind of pushed me into the community. But still, even joining the community, I didn't really understand. I feel like that I needed to grieve. I still felt like, no, I'm still my same self. Like I was kind of in that denial stage for a long time. And then, as helpful as the support groups were for my mental state, I felt like a lot of it was kind of like, just keep going forward, like move on to the next thing, like what are we doing, like next, like go to this next support group, help this next person, go to the sports festival, try something out, like what is your new hobby, like starting my life out, which was great. I needed that for sure. But still, I was so sad. Like year three hit, I was already involved in the community and stuff, and I would just have these like extreme depressive episodes where I just missed who I was so much. And that was really hard for me. But then when I understood, even if I started walking today, that Brianna is not coming back. When I kind of grasped that idea, is kind of when I started my grieving process. I was like, okay, now what do I need to do to help myself move forward? And I started Googling, and I read about the grieving process, and I didn't really understand like how I was going to get through this or anything like that. I just took it one day at a time, I want to say one trick, but I don't know if that's the right word to use. Like one tool, that's the right word. One tool to use at a time. And yeah, so that's what kind of like helped me. And then we're going to go into like what kind of was that on our healing journey. So what helped us the most on our healing journey to kind of get to the point where we are today. So let's start with Nikki. Do you want to start?
So how did we get?
Yeah, I guess
Here?
you kind of skipped the first question of like how long it took you, but like how long into your injury did it take you to start your grieving process, and then like kind of what just helped you on along the way. Did you journal? Did you, go to therapy? Like what kind of helped you the most?
Uh, for me, it probably hit me. I for sure hit me right away in my injury. The grief, and then too, like I don't know if Ashley talked about this, and I wasn't hearing them, but I was also grieving for her because I didn't know the like extent of her injury yet, but I knew it had to be similar to mine. So I was like, wow, going through this too, like this isn't fun. Like, so I was like grieving her life, and I was grieving hers and mine, and it was a lot. So right away, an inpatient, they had gave me a therapist. So I think I started already acknowledging that I was going through something because
Okay.
it was hard. Sorry, guys, I'm breathing heavy. My
No,
sickness, being paralyzed and sick, ain't no joke.
it's okay, girl. Slow down. Slow down. It's okay. Yeah, that's hard. I mean, that is a very unique perspective that you had and that you had to deal with. But that's such a blessing that you got a therapist right inside of the beginning. I feel like they like put me more on medication right away than kind of like getting a real therapist. I don't really feel, and I really feel like, well, no shit, I was sad, I was kind of all focused on one thing, which was like hard on me. But like, that's so great that you were able to like really acknowledge that inside of the beginning. So therapy was a major for you.
Yeah, well, don't get me wrong. I didn't talk to her for like the first 3 sessions. Like we were just staring at each other. But
Uh-huh.
I knew that I needed help, and I asked, like, I want to talk to a therapist, but I didn't know what that looked like. I was like, "Girl, talk, like, say something." She's like, "Whenever you're
Mhm,
ready to talk." She would just stare at me, and I was like, "You have a
mhm.
question? Question for me?" Like, it wasn't smooth. It didn't start off all like, "Oh, here's my feelings." It
Yeah.
took me a little bit, and then, and then, and then I think I made that video where I wrote a letter to myself because Brianna had told me to do that.
Oh.
And that had helped a lot too. Because we do
Yeah.
lose a lot of our injury. And I think I just had to accept the fact that this was, as they always say, my new life.
Mhm,
And that made it a lot easier after
mhm,
that. After just accepting, like, I can't change what happened, but I can change how my future is going to look from here on out.
mhm.
So, yeah, I
Love
think
that,
that's
love
it.
that. How about you, Ashley? What helped you most on your journey?
Um, what helped me? Well, just like Nick, I did the. Well, no, let's take it even a step further. When I this is like I know people like look at me like I'm crazy when I talk about this because I couldn't talk. So like, but I was seeing a girl, okay, and
Mhm.
she a lot like she understood me. She was the what do they call them? Oh, I'm having a brain fart. Like the chaplain and like when you're at the
Uh-huh.
in the ICU.
Mhm.
And they had came to me one day like, "Would you like to talk to someone?" This like ladies outside want to talk to you, and I was like, "Yeah, okay." Well, I didn't say I couldn't speak, but I'm like, I don't even know if
Uh-huh.
I could move my neck either. I think I was still in a neck brace. So I'm like, but they understood, like, yeah, I wanted to speak to this lady. And she would come every day and we would, it's like I say talk, but I wasn't talking, but she was talking. But that really helped. And then, just like when Nikki said, and when we got to Shirley Ryan, they set me up with the therapist. And unlike Nikki's experience, I opened up pretty quickly. I was pretty vulnerable pretty quickly. He was a nice dude. I wonder where his life is at now, honestly. And that was really helpful. And then talking to my sister, that's really helpful.
Mhm.
I get a built-in best friend with my side injury, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Um, on each other's nerves. Yeah, even though you get on my nerves, like when you're sick. But I love you. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That wasn't nice. Uh,
That's so
but yeah,
beautiful. I love your guys' relationship. I mean, that's what it's all about too. And it is something so special, that you guys were able to also lean on each other for that. Um,
it is. It's one of those things. We get each other, but then we also get on each other's nerves.
Yeah,
Because
because
like,
there's also differences
because
that
you
we
could give
have.
me more. No, just kidding.
And you could
I
give
feel
me
like
more.
that's with anybody that you're with, I feel like constantly.
Exactly.
I was just talking about it with like the boys, like even in relationships, like I feel like I get frustrated with my relationship sometimes too. But I mean, I just feel like it's just growing over time. Like there's different obstacles that go your way. Like sometimes people think it's all like peaches and creams, and sometimes it's not like that. It's two people willing to fight for each other and really change and understand. And like sometimes that's not always working in this generation, but I feel like that's constant for any relationship in your life. Like you should be working to change. Like I literally just had to ask like one of my little brothers, like actually both of them, I had a really deep conversation with them and was just like, is there anything that I need to change to be a better sister to you? Those conversations aren't like, that's not a common question to ask each other, and I feel like it should be. You should normalize like that kind of things and asking kind of different things, because if not, it just gets like whatever. But also they just get on my nerves sometimes. That doesn't need to be talked about. Sometimes we just pick on each other. Sometimes we just think it's funny. And that's the beauty of our relationship too. Okay, let's go to Maya. Maya, what was the most healing thing that you did on your journey?
So I went to the same therapy place as Ashley and Nikki,
Oh, really?
in Chicago, and they also gave me a therapist in the beginning, but I can't tell you not one thing that we talked about. Honestly, I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Same.
So great, but I'm sure it was helpful.
Mhm.
I remember the lady's name. Her name was Emily. She was cool. But really, the things that really helped me on my journey was family support and Jesus. When I got injured, like the last thing I remembered was getting shot, being in the freezing cold ocean and praying to God, like, can you hurry up and kill me because can I just hurry up and die because I'm freezing? And so going from that to waking up in the hospital to seeing my mom there when she didn't even live in California at that time. And then going to Illinois where I had my family and I was like super supported by them and they were taking me to church and encouraging me to develop my relationship with Jesus. I feel like that was the most helpful thing for me
Mm-hmm.
when I was going through my injury and like my healing process early on, because like it was hard for me to understand why I got injured or like why things like that happen. And I know like sometimes in religion we hear that like disabilities are punishments and things like that. So these things were playing inside of my head. And when I was encouraged to build a relationship with Jesus and actually like understanding him, it was really encouraging to me to find out that my disability in it isn't a punishment. And so I think that was probably the most healing thing that I've carried on throughout these past 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. How about you, Jessica?
Well, for me, the biggest thing was my family and my friends. Even like growing up, like, or when I had my kid at 16, like I've always said it takes a village. And I think that's how my injury was. I didn't have one caregiver. I had, like three of my aunts rotating and my mom, and um, all my friends learned how to calf. My sisters learned how to calf. Like it was really just everyone coming together. Um, we're very mean to each other. We're very sarcastic type of assholes.
Mm-hmm.
Yet we're very close. Like no matter what we need, we're there for each other. So for me, it was family and friends, and like everyone's mentioned God. I've always had a really strong faith, and my mom says that when they first got me, they were pulling the glass out of me, and I kept asking her, why would he do this to me? Why would he do this to me? Because I've always had such a close relationship with him. And that the doctors just looked at her and she's like, we don't question that. Stop it. And then they were like, who is she talking about? And I was like, God, duh. Um, that's really what helped me. And I think even in my journey of acceptance, the first year it was like, if you have faith, then you'll walk again. Just pray and pray and pray. And I actually got to the point where I was like, if I have enough faith, then I won't question his plan. And if this is his plan for me, then this is his plan for me.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to like, your faith will make you walk again. It's like having faith is not questioning.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, friends, family, and God, I think have been the greatest. And even when I decided to become a therapist, it was a lot of that, right? It was like, I always wondered how people who didn't have faith, how they coped, right? Because even if I was like stuck in a restroom, like cutting cath and I peed everywhere, like I was fighting with God and I was arguing with him. And so I've never felt alone. It's like I've always wondered, and even becoming a therapist, I wanted to be there for people who weren't lucky to have a big ass family like mine, or didn't have the type of friends that I had and didn't have the type of faith, right? So for me, that those things were really important, but I wanted to be that for someone else. Um, so I think that's always what's helped me. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I relate a lot to that too. And I feel like I was that person that like didn't have a big family. I was just like all alone. And then not only that, but I did have faith before. I did believe in God, but when I was injured, I was so angry at him. I was like, what the fuck? Like, do I believe in him? Like, was this a punishment? Like, what the heck? I just wanted him to come down so I could have a stern talk with him of like, why the hell this had to happen. And it just goes to show you, it's just like one of those things that are so funny to me inside of my injury, because it's like we want something, but God gives us what we need. So it doesn't matter how bad I wanted those answers right now. It wasn't time for me to know those answers. But I wasn't like that strong enough in my faith to accept that at that time. That just came off as anger to me. And like, although yes, I felt blessed to be alive, I still felt like kind of angry about it, because I was like, why me? Like, out of all the people that are dying, you save me? Like, for what? Like, I was just and that made me even sadder. I don't know why, or if that's some kind of other mental fucking disorder. You can tell me later, Jessica. Just kidding. um but I just felt like so like angry when I would see somebody get shot, like. And I remember there was this singer that was like doing a meet and greet, and she died around that time too. And I was just, so I cried about it. I would just cry about their death, about like what they were thinking about. I was just became so emotional in that aspect of it. And so in my journey of finding the community, that came first. So I was like, kind of just like, okay, I'm not really focused on walking anymore. If it happens, it happens. That all kind of came just like over time for me within those 2 years. I joined the community, and like, it wasn't until I went to the World's Experience. I've told this story a bunch of times, and I felt reconnected with God, because I really felt blessed to meet all these freaking wonderful people inside of chairs and have these conversations. And I was kind of like, wow, like impressed, so impressed with being there that night. And then it was kind of that like ding that God gave me, like, okay, now you get to know why, And like, I don't know, it was just such a beautiful reunion with me and God at that moment of me going through my experience. But still finding the community, finding God, I was still depressed about grieving my old life. I would still get in these ruts where I just miss that version of myself so much, and I would get so frustrated at not being able to do things as easily as she did. Also, a sense of being angry that I didn't take more advantage of that time that I was walking, and like seeing different situations like that was really hard for me. And then I was like, okay, she's not coming back, Brianna. Like, oh, I need to stop thinking about her. Like, this wasn't me trying to control my thoughts of being like, okay, I'm overthinking. Let's stop this now. And in that was like, okay, I'm also like obsessing about a person that's not there. That's not healthy. And what about if I was doing that about with somebody who passed away? And I was just questioning myself about all these things, and it just made me realize like that's exactly what I was doing. And I was hurting myself in the process of that. And that's where I came up with the idea of writing the goodbye letter to my old self, because I felt like nobody tells you how to grieve a part of you, and how hard that is. Nobody explains to you how hard that is. Of course they don't. They're living, they're all around you. Nobody understood that, what I was going through in that instance. And like, there was a lot of like, don't worry, you're gonna still come back, you don't worry. So there was a lot of false hope in that too. And I don't feel like that was like the healthiest way to handle that at the time. um so let me see. I wanted to read my goodbye letter to myself today. So just give me about like a minute of your time. I'm going to try to read slow so I don't mess up words, because when I get nervous, I just start speaking gibberish. I'm sure if you guys watch the show, you guys know that. But I'm going to read to you guys. With this came a whole day of healing, a whole day of knowing that I need this day to myself, informing the people that I lived with that I needed this day to grieve for myself. It took a lot of time. I wrote it in the form of a poem, but you can feel free to do it however you want. Nikki also has a really beautiful one on her YouTube channel. I will find it and I will link it, send it to Shawn to link that one below as well. Do you mind, Nikki, if we do that? Okay, well, perfect. Okay. Hi, Brianna. I was thinking about all the things we've been through, and I thought it was about time I told you how much I appreciated you. I know this letter is going to hurt because it's also time I say goodbye to you. Just remember, I really loved you. Don't be sad and know that our time together was real and true. I can't even express how fucking hard this is to do. Just remember, I really loved you. First, I want to say thank you. Thank you for hanging in there and getting me through. You were so amazing to me, and I honestly think you got the worst of the two. You were so strong and had our heart of glue. Just remember, I really loved you. You were brave, confident, and so fucking fierce. You were smart, funny, and could brighten up any room you're near. Dang, I really loved you. I just want you to know that this goodbye doesn't mean I'm not proud of you because that couldn't be me because that couldn't be further than the truth. Just remember, I really love you. You stuck that shit out and did all you could do for us too. I wouldn't have chosen anyone else to share my life with or ride or die with. Thank you for all the memories and laugh and everything you did for us in the past. Just remember, I really loved you. I was so angry, lost, and broken without you, but I've been trying my hardest and I think of you every time I try something new. Don't worry, I made a promise to live my life and fight because of all the bullshit you went through. I hope you like this new 2.0 version of you. I can't even tell you how much I miss you. But it's still time for me to say goodbye to you. That doesn't mean that I don't love you because I do. I just need to make the thought of you move so that I can focus on the new and improved you. Remember, I love you and I hope you're proud of me too. The end.
Hmm.
So that was like,
Oh,
I got a little choked up inside the middle of it, but it's
Um,
just because it brings me to that spot. And that's a grieving is constant, right? Just because I write this letter doesn't mean I'm totally fine and I'm never going to be sad about that again because there's different triggers that I get that bring me back to that moment. But it also helps to remind myself that it's okay to have that moment. It's okay to be sad about it. And then I don't let it hold me back though. Before I felt like I was really letting it stop me from moving forward and really messing with my mental growth, I feel like overall. So yeah, that was my journey with it.
hmm.
Okay, let's see what the next question is. I don't know why the hell I thought that wasn't going to be a good idea. Okay. Um,
It was a good idea. That was
It
beautiful.
was.
Nikki
It was.
crying.
it
Thank you.
was.
I'm not just because I'm still hosting the show. Okay. What was the hardest thing that you had to grieve during the holidays? So, like sometimes we're not able to do everything that we were able to do. So sometimes it can be something simple or more extreme if you were into like really like decorating or things like that. So kind of what was your journey like with that? Let's start with Jessica.
For me, I think Thanksgiving was hard. It's like our holiday. Our family loves Thanksgiving, probably one of the most. Um, and I used to help cook like everything. It was me and my sister. We would cook everything, and my mom would help out. But my mom's never been good at cooking. So after my grandma couldn't do it anymore, me and my sister took over. And then my first Thanksgiving, and mind you, like I can cook really good. Like on Monday, I cook like 35 meals because I'm meal prepping
Oh
for
my
more people.
gosh.
I know.
You're
And
you see what I mean? You're my hero. I fucking complain so much about cooking one meal. Okay, go on.
yeah, so like I meal prep for like all my family because everyone's trying to lose weight right now. I got my child down. He's lost a bunch
That's
of weight.
right.
But a Thanksgiving meal is like it's so much stuff, so with such little bit of time that it's a lot of chopping, so especially my first year when I still couldn't really I didn't know what I could do or how to do it. I
Mhm.
think we really need to learn to use our hands before we can take something like that on. And my family tried. They bought like different like chopping things, and to top it off, I don't like using a lot of accessible things. So it's like it was hard because it kind of felt like if I can't chop it with a knife, I don't feel like doing it.
Mhm.
But they bought me a bunch of gadgets and things to try, so they were sweet. And so the first year was hard, and then as the years followed, it's become easier where I help out where I can, but really my main job is to be entertaining, so I
Yeah, I
drink
feel like I end up falling into that category too, you know?
yeah,
It's just
I
like
just
ends up
like
being
I just like hang out. I help a little here and there because, like I said, like I'm actually really good at a lot of things that I don't usually do. Like one time, my friends, they always, when we did events, they would set up everything. And one day I got there and they had nothing done. And they still weren't ready, but I was ready. And I set up a whole like charcuterie board and like champagne, like a bunch of stuff. And they're like, this whole fucking time, Jessica. But I've gotten used to just like when it's my kitchen and my time, I cook and cook and cook. But in the holidays, I do a little here and there. I help. And it's usually my mom, my sister, and me. We all just drink wine now and hang out.
beautiful, beautiful. I love it. I love it. Okay. What about you, Nikki? What was the hardest thing for you to grieve during the holidays?
Yeah, Nikki.
That's a good question because I don't know if I really grieved anything in the holidays except for the fact that like after our injury, it just seemed like our family like wasn't the same for lack of saying more off that because I don't want them to see that or hear that if they watch this. But but it's just been challenging, you know. But at the same time, I'm a holiday girl. I always have been. And I, from like the jump, was like, I'm not letting people ruin my holidays because I love Thanksgiving. I love Christmas. I love like all of that. And we've created new traditions together, like the movies on Christmas Day, which we never used to do. We don't. Ashley doesn't like being carried in. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really want to go to my family's house if Ashley's like not with
Don't
me
be playing with me.
for the. I
be
don't.
me.
I don't.
Uh-huh.
And like I'll go to birthday parties and stuff without Ash. I don't know the holidays. I'm not gonna leave my sister home.
Mhm.
Like I'm just not. And if she doesn't want to be carried, I'm not gonna be carried. Like it's not that big of a deal. So for me, it's just like we created our own little traditions and like own little fun stuff to do. And I still decorate, even if I can't do the most. But what I do notice is because since like moving back home after my injury is like when my dad sees me decorating, he starts being like, "Oh, I hope you will decorate." And then it's like I have this help added in, and he didn't even realize he's like helping me because he thinks that I was just doing it by myself, but really he starts putting up the tree and doing all this extra stuff. And then I'm like, "Yay, like you helped me finish everything."
I love
Yeah.
it.
Like he sees me doing this, he'll follow suit. I already know, you know.
That's how it is in my family too. I literally have to just start doing it, unfortunately, for them to do it. Like I've given up on the like, oh yeah, I'll get to it. That's what they always tell me. Oh yeah, I'll do it. My dad's favorite thing is I'm gonna put it on the to-do list. I'm like, okay, but where on the to-do list? I need to know what your to-do list is and where my request is going now on that to-do list. I have to be very specific with it. Dealing with a house of boys is not for the weak, let me tell you that. It's just really but I am the same exact way. Okay, Ashley, what about you? What was the thing you had to grieve most during the holidays?
I don't know. Kind of like what Nikki said. Kind of, you know, we come from the same family, so family dynamics are a little weird.
Mhm.
We'll keep it at that. We'll keep it at that. Yeah.
Were you a big holiday person before?
I love Thanksgiving. Christmas is stressful. Should be about Jesus, not about presents. But anyway. Love New Year's, but New Year's we never really did anything, so like I still be having a blast. Thanksgiving.
Yeah, like what changed there?
Like, were you a cook? Did you used to cook before, or you just love Thanksgiving
I
to show
wasn't
up?
at the level of adulting when I got injured to be a cook yet, you know.
Uh-huh.
So my disability just I think just like grants me the privilege to like never have to cook again for Thanksgiving. But I get to eat.
Yeah,
And I'm a
that's
sous
why I
chef.
say.
So
Okay.
I be mixing stuff. I be in the kitchen, but you know, I be do little things here.
Or
and
you
there.
watch the timer for me.
Okay, you're like I make stuff. Watch the timer.
You set timers for me because I need multiple.
I do because you be forget. You be burning stuff.
I forget. Like I have like doo-doo brain.
Her and my dad like
Same girl. I gotta set multiple timers. I'm like, what? Remind me now. I need a timer that I had to get one that does not turn off when it goes. It doesn't go like beep 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 like the microwave.
Let's go.
Oh, no. Yeah, it needs to not shut up until I go and physically turn it off. And like, I remember last time my dad turned off my timer and he didn't even tell me. And I was like, why would you do that? How am I ever going to remember if you turned off my timer? Like, what? I was flabbergasted, but whatever.
That's the timer went off. Like, yeah, like 3 minutes ago it went off.
Oh, dude, that must be
You're
burning.
burning the cookies. Like, come on.
That's so funny. Okay, Ashley, let me ask you another question. Was it hard in the beginning to watch Nikki be able to like do more of the decorating, more of the cooking, more of that, and like have to sit back and be like, damn, she still is able to do these like things?
I'll answer that for you. No, because she ain't never did it. So
Yeah,
she ain't got nothing to
I'm not
grieve.
a decorator. Like, honestly, guys,
She
my
got
room.
Girl, you can do it, girl. Great.
Yeah, like she's the decorator. I don't like to decorate. My room's a mess, but honestly, if I had it my way, it'd be really minimalistic. I don't like a lot of stuff. So just that never was me. So I'm glad that I have a sister. As long as I live with her, I know my house.
For
will be
Ashley,
decorated.
she'll like buy a little Christmas tree and be
like a little, the little.
here,
cat
there's my
belongs to
Christmas
me.
tree. Merry
And I'd be
Christmas,
like, okay,
guys.
Merry Christmas.
Like, girl, that's not festive. Charlie
But it's
Brown.
easily storageable.
It's so funny. Well, that's great. That's great. That's how I feel, honestly, with the sports and working out and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I kind of actually hated walking to begin with. Like, I just really did. It was like a known thing. My family has like made multiple jokes about it. Like, Brianna, did you even really like walking before? And I'm like, no, I really honestly didn't. Was never a workout girly. Always made fucking excuses for PE.
She said the workout
Never
girl.
in the gym. I quit every single time. Like, and I never was into sports. I tried, but I have a trouble with authority as well. So as soon as they started yelling at me, I wanted to yell at them, and then it didn't work out so great. But I just didn't miss that. You know, I agree with other parts. I totally get like people who did have that life, and now like it's harder for them. I totally understand. But I feel like that way with it, and people always try to tell me. It's so funny when I meet new people too. Like I was at this place shooting something for a commercial, and this girl was like, yeah, have you heard of Life Rolls On? Like they help you go inside of the water. I'm like, yeah, I've heard about it, just not really my thing. She's like, yeah, my friend did it, they really liked you, you should try it. I'm like, yeah, maybe, you know, but like again, probably not going to do it that because it's just not my interest. But it's so hard for people to accept that I don't get that same adrenaline from those things. It makes me really exhausted. And I've tried in the beginning of my injury when I joined the community to just satisfy people. And I didn't like it. I don't like being out of breath. I don't like hurting. Sorry, guys.
Brianna, you got me cracking up over here.
Sorry, guys.
You and Ashley probably
just don't. Oh, we have lots of comments. So sorry, everyone. We've been on a roll over here. Nikki says she loves your black hair, Jessica.
I do. It's so pretty.
I got my hair done too, but you guys can't see it. But I got highlights inside of it, like, and I got the color. I just screwed up today.
And I got appointments on Monday.
Okay, girls, can't wait to see it. Velma says, good afternoon, girls. Hope all is well with you. Welcome to all the Live to Roll family. Make sure to hit the like button. Yes, welcome everyone to the show today. We're grateful to
Love
have
you,
you here.
Velma.
Thank you, Nikki, for the super chat. Won't he do it? Ashley to Maya. Oh.
That was when Maya was talking.
Yeah. Wheelchair Rick, hello. Hello. Jane, who on earth says a disability is a punishment? Well, oh yeah, that's usually said like in religions. I think it became a thing because they were like, Jesus made the girl walk. And then everybody was like, oh, well, if Jesus made her walk, it was probably because something was wrong with her, you know? And so it's just been a different belief, I think, all that way because of that. There's this whole thing of like, which is understandable, but it's like when you're broken, it needs to be fixed. So they kind of view us as broken. And I've realized like that's not the way that I see myself. You know, I feel like, and what I've had to repeat to multiple people is, if God put you on your journey, I trust that God put me on my journey. So here I am praising Jesus, whether he likes it or not, you know, and you can praise Jesus or you can stare at me. We're just going to keep going with our service, you know? And so that's just what I've had to believe. But yes, there are a lot of old religions that feel that way.
Brianna.
Thank you, ladies, for our super chat. Thank you so much. Many thanks, Nicole and Luis. Your support is appreciated, Velma. Your support is appreciated too, Velma. We love you. See you gals Saturday at the Literal Friendsgiving. Yes, if you're in the LA area, make sure you purchase your Friendsgiving gifts as soon as possible because I already have my hands full and I'm going to try to make you a customized gift. Let me know. Yes, there's our flyer. So make sure you message any one of us and we will help you with that. We're so excited. Okay. Where am I? Yeah. Okay. So for me, the hardest thing to grieve during the holidays, I think, was the simpleness of it all. I had a hard time with that. I had a hard time with being in a lot of inaccessible places, needing to ask more for people's help when I really was the person that was so used to being the carer, and the person that was helping everybody else. So it was extremely difficult. I would always say in the beginning, like, it's hard to rely on people that are like unreliable. And I feel like sometimes that's missed. When I was like Googling and trying to connect with people in the community, I kept on seeing how they got over their injury and their sadness and stuff was to lean on family and friends. And I just did not have that. So I would get even sadder because I would be like, okay, now what do I do? If I don't have that, do I just not get better? Because I'm not going to have that, you know? And so that was very difficult for me. But I found my family in people that are not blood related at that time. Now I have a closer relationship with my family. But at the time, it was very chaotic. And what I did was found a family within the community. And it really just helped me so much, just even like eating lunches with them and just seeing them weekly at groups and just them really being proud of me and giving me like real advice. And I was like, you know what, this is my family, this is my support system. And so never be afraid to create your own family, you know, reach out to people. It doesn't have to be the people that are in your household or that you're blood related to by any means. Let me just put that little PSA out there. And so I was just like, oh, now I have to sit here. Now I can't grab anything. I have to dictate, can't freaking do nothing. I freaking have to tell them how to decorate a tree. Looks ridiculous. I was just like lost. I was just like, oh, this sucks so much. But over the years, I've realized that that was just a part of me just looking for reasons to be angry and a part of just my grieving process and just the sadness, you know, that I had to get over. So now I take it with ease. I remind myself that it's going to be a stressful couple of weeks or a stressful day. It's going to be a long time. I cook what I can, but on Thanksgiving, I do ask them that they all help me cook now. So they all do that. And let me try to think. Oh, the last thing I wanted to touch on too was kind of just in the beginning, the unwanted questions. So for me, I would go over to my boyfriend's family. That's kind of where I got it more, honestly. His family is super close, super big. Cousins, aunts, uncles, all kinds of people get together every single Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthday, Hanukkah. Just kidding, I'm being dramatic now, but they do get together a lot. My family is just not like that. They don't get together. So it was kind of hard to have that mass amount of people with eyes focused on me. I wasn't so used to being that center of attention. And I still wasn't comfortable in how I was like dressing. I still was in my huge hospital wheelchair in the beginning. So that was really hard for me to accept too. And I still get those annoying comments because I feel like the holidays are kind of where I see people that I don't really see all year for some reason. And how I deal with that is just kind of having automatic response. I sit down ahead of time and be like, what is going to trigger me that anybody's going to say, and how am I going to respond to that? I'm refuse to get triggered today. That's why I remind myself too. Today is the holiday. I'm having a good day today. I'm not going to let any of you guys bother me, and it's kind of just being prepared with that. So I just want to throw that in there as well. Okay. Do you guys have any other tips or tricks to just keep sane during the holidays? So let's go with Ashley and Nikki. When you guys are
Wait,
around.
Brianna, you skipped me.
Oh, I'm sorry, baby girl. My brain.
Ooh, tell her, Mom.
I'm sorry. I'm hearing people talk and I'm throwing me off outside my door. I'm so sorry. What did you grieve most during the holidays? Tell me. I want to know.
No, I was talking. TJ, leave me alone. I was talking to TJ about this question, and I was like, I don't know, what the fuck did I grieve? I don't know.
Uh-huh.
But as I was
I
like
have an
pondering
answer.
about it more, I know one thing that I have is like being a bigger part of like the decorating process.
Mhm.
I like 2 years ago, I sat there while my mom was like trying to untangle some like little icicle strings. And I just
Mhm.
like kind of held the icicle string while she's untangling it. And that was my way to be involved, but it wasn't good enough for me.
Uh-huh.
But the real part, like, of what I wanted to talk about right now is like I'm kind of pre-grieving right now, because like I have this idea inside of my head on what like the holidays with the kid looks like, and we're
Mhm.
going through this holiday season this year, and yeah, he's like super little, so whatever, this first Christmas, like I'm not really thinking about doing too much with it, but I'm thinking about like holiday traditions in the future, and like missing out on like wrapping his gifts, or maybe not enjoying it because it's more difficult because of my hand function. And just different things like that. I have like ideas of like building a fort and climbing into it for the holidays or whatever, and like,
Mhm.
yeah, okay, Maya. And I know I
Mhm.
have the support. Like TJ will build a fort and put me in it, if I really
Mhm.
wanted to. But it's like just that mentality of not being able to do it myself, or being able to start the process, I feel like is something that I'm gonna have to be dealing with for some years in my life. And that's gonna be an interesting process.
It is going to be an interesting process. I feel like that's so unique because now you're kind of going through, like you said, a whole new kind of grieving process of like where you're like, okay, I kind of got over this now, and now this is kind of bothering me. Now I have to grieve this whole new thing that I didn't even care about before. It didn't even matter, and now like I feel like I'm missing out all over again. And like it is kind of hard, I think, to stop yourself from going down that rabbit hole sometimes. And like.
Mhm.
Uh,
But I'm so glad that I have the knowledge about grieving this that I have now, versus like waiting 2 years into my injury when I realized that I had to grieve my life. And so now I'm kind of like pre grieving this. And I know I messaged today and I was like, I don't want to fucking talk about grief, but I'm really glad that we did.
I didn't think you were gonna mind that I skipped you on the question, but I was like, okay, girl, you can answer if you want to.
She's like, I took the time to think about
Like,
it.
wait, I was like, I'm excited about this question now.
Aw,
That's
love
so
that.
funny.
I
And I
know.
think you should
Um,
also document that too. I feel like there's so many other mothers that must feel the same way. So, Jessica, did you experience this since you already kind of had traditions with your kid? Was
Yeah.
that just like a miss of cooking? How did you feel about
So,
that?
so I think, we talk about our ADHD sometimes.
Mhm.
I was a crackhead. Like I was naturally like jumping, running, dancing. Like my child had the most active mom because I was a
Mhm.
child. I had him at
Uh-huh.
16.
Yeah.
And so, some of those things that Maya describes, like, yeah, like I had a boy. So, I had to figure out how to build a fort with him, but also how to teach him how to do it on his own now. Um, but I think with grief, it's kind of like I do wish I could do the things I used to do with him, and that's okay. Um, but at the same time, like, how can I do things now? So I think he's very dependent on me on some things, but he's very independent on others. And I know it's because I have a disability.
Mhm.
Um, but being a mom doesn't always look the same. Like my sister's like one of those crazy moms that's like, cooks every single meal and like has a perfect schedule and her child goes to sleep at the same time, wakes up at this like psychotic. And I would never, like, even if I was able bodied, like
Mhm.
no, but but I was the mom that jumped and played and ran, and her child was having these issues, and she's like, I think there's something wrong with him. I'm like, you need to take him outside at least an hour a day every day. And she was like, how am I going to do that? Like the idea of playing is really hard for her.
Yeah.
Right. And so moms don't look the same. Like even in a wheelchair, my ex, his dad is not the type to want to go to like Knott's and Six Flags. And I took my child everywhere into like all the outdoor adventure stuff that we do with Triumph. I would just take him,
Yeah.
or the stuff Rancho does. The first time he ever did kayaking, it was with me. The first time he drove a boat, it was with me. And his dad was the able-bodied one, and he would never do any of that stuff. You know?
Yeah, I guess like also Triumph is a great outlet over here because you're able to bond in that way too, and still feel like you're getting out, and that you're doing different sporty things and stuff like that because it can feel like a sense of loss, And I guess Maya, like, Trey isn't like to that point yet, like where you're able to like really like take him out into those sporting things, but I think he's really gonna enjoy it once you do, and I think Triumph is gonna be like a good outlet for you guys to like experience those things together too.
And I'll say, Maya, just remember parenting doesn't look the same for everyone, even able-bodied people. Like it was really sad. Like Michael had friends at school that like never went anywhere on the weekend, right? And he was out every weekend. And it's like, well, his parents are able-bodied. Like, why the hell don't they ever take this child anywhere, And like I said, it looks different. Like my sister can be the perfect Susie homemaker, but then she's like, what do I talk to them about? I'm like, sing, bitch, dance. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. There's people who their parents built fort with them every single weekend and they hate them to their guts, like it just happens like that. I try to remind myself that as well. Like there are people that did experience that or do have that what you're wishing and they don't feel that way, So like what you're saying is not true, which I also have to remind myself a lot, you guys, like thoughts are not facts. Because I be thinking some crazy things sometimes, so that's important to remind yourself too, like with anything that you're experiencing. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Olivia, for our super chat. We really appreciate you. Won't make it to the Friendsgiving. Appreciate you, ladies, like you wouldn't understand. Oh, we appreciate you, and we can't wait to see you again. Let us know when you're back in action and able to hang out, and we'll plan something. Nadine, so glad I could make it. Yay. Triumph family, yes. Hello, Daryl. Hello, everyone. Hello. Okay, great. Okay, I think we're already over time. It's 4:10. Okay. Did we need to touch on? Is there any other questions, Maya, that you really thought about that you want to let us know?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, this was great. There's a lot of different things too. Things are always going to come up. You can only plan so much. You just kind of have to have a good attitude about it. There's always going to be things thrown inside of your face that you feel like, oh, I wish I could do that, but it's kind of like reality that oh, he's in the corner. Is Trey making an appearance right now? Oh no, we're blocking him. Shawn. Mayday.
He is.
Oh, hi,
Oh,
baby.
yep, here he comes.
Hi, Trey. Hi, baby Trey. You look so
Hi,
big
Look at how
already.
gorgeous you are.
You're
Look
just
at
so
how gorgeous
cute.
you are.
Hi. Oh my God, those feet.
Cheeks.
You want
I know,
to
she's
smile at the
A1.
ladies?
I know his
Hi,
face.
You
baby
guys
Trey.
smile at the
Hi,
ladies?
baby Trey.
Hi,
Hi.
You're
we
just so
miss
cute.
you.
Cute.
me.
He's just adorable. He's just so gorgeous. I'm like, how do you deal with this? You're so cute.
Oh, I want to
I'm
get.
like, when I
know.
go back to work, it's gonna be difficult.
Yeah, that is gonna be difficult.
Working
You're,
from home, trying not to stare at him.
You're gonna have to have special breaks or like wanting to look at him when he's making a noise. You want to like talk back with him. Oh, that was a great way to end our stream. An appearance from baby. I
Yay!
just love him so much. Thank you guys for joining. We really, really appreciate it. And make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. We just reached 11,000 subscribers, so we're really excited about that.
Pew
I
pew
want to.
pew.
Oh yeah, we need some.
There you go.
And I want to thank our sponsors, Mobility Professionals and Urology Professionals. They're a super great company, so make sure you check them out. They have an amazing customer care service. And I want to say come back every Tuesday to check out the guys with new topics, super amazing topics, different guests, sometimes just them hanging out. And go check out their previous ones too if this is your first time joining us. We have hundreds of videos on our channels now and tons of different topics. It's also Wednesday Gaming with T Fizzle. He often goes there and games. It's super fun. Even if you're not a gamer, he lets people join in if you do want to play with him. And if not, you can just join in the chat like me and just have fun with it and just root them along their way. We also have the Rolling Over the Hill with the Robert and Bobby every second and fourth Thursday. And they talk about just kind of aging inside of a chair, getting older. I feel like they come up with great topics and have a lot of knowledge for just anybody, even if you're newly injured, because you're going to be aging inside of a chair or with a disability. So what does that come with? So make sure you check them out. And then I am back with every first and third Thursday with the New Woman's Show. So make sure you come back. I'm a little off schedule with that, so sorry. I'm supposed to be back actually next week. I'm supposed to do it. Is it next week? No, the following week after that, the fifth one, right? I'm like, oh my God, next week is Thanksgiving. Okay, sorry. I'm going to be back the 5th Thursday. So stay tuned for that. Turn on your notifications so you can get notified when we go live. We love you all so much. Have an amazing Thanksgiving and live to roll.
Bye.
Bye.